Amazon FBA is the easiest, legitimate way to start a passive income business right now. Or at least that's what I'm gonna test in this video. But it makes sense. Amazon is a $1.6 trillion company. And for those that don't know, Amazon FBA is a way for you to make money off Amazon. And the way this works is you send your products into the Amazon warehouses, and when you get a sale on Amazon's website, Amazon picks, packs, and ships out your products for you, making it pretty easy. But the real reason I think this is such a big opportunity is last year, e-commerce only made up 12% of all retail sales. This year, it's projected to be 20%. E-commerce is growing like crazy, and Amazon makes up 50% of all e-commerce transactions. So if you think e-commerce is the future, then starting an Amazon business is a no-brainer. And what's even more impressive is despite recent troubles that Amazon has had with Congress, Amazon stock is still up over 50% and growing since the start of the pandemic. This to me proves that there's a lot of opportunity on Amazon. Now, before I go any further, I have seen a lot of Amazon gurus out there showing fake numbers, talking about their Lamborghinis or how they became a millionaire overnight. And I'm not gonna do that in this video. I'm gonna be 100% honest, 100% transparent, like always. And to be honest, the results are going to surprise you. They're a little bit disappointing, not exactly what I expected, but that's okay. I've even shared what my product is that I use for this 2-month test, which most gurus don't do, because if you don't share what your product is, it's a lot easier to fake numbers, which I'm not gonna do in this video. And this is a follow-up of the 2-week test video I did right here. And I'm gonna start out by telling you all my startup costs. Then I'm gonna go week by week and share with you my revenue, my Amazon costs, my product costs, other random costs, and my final profit. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you something deeply personal, a really big mistake I made that I've never talked about before, something I almost didn't want to share, but I think it's really important. So make sure you stick around till the end, because this is one of the biggest mistakes I've made in the last year, one of the most important lessons I've learned. And make sure you smash that like button, because this is me being honest and vulnerable about things that most people probably wouldn't share. First off, let's talk about how much it cost me to do my first production run of my products to sell on Amazon. And I did 2,500 units of my product for a total cost of $18,000. Now, I spent way more money than most people do for my first production run. I also produced a lot more units. For most people beginning, I would say start with 500 units, but I had a good feeling about my product, so I went ahead and made 2,500 units. Now, to break down the cost of my product, there's the cost of the nuts, because my product is a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter with cacao in it. Then on top of that, there's the cost of the pouch film, which is the film that makes each individual pouch. There's also the cost of the display boxes, and there's the cost of what's called the master cases. And so my product, I put 12 of the display boxes in one master case, and then I build a pallet for this and ship it into Amazon, which also reminds me, there's the cost of shipping all the raw goods to my manufacturer, which includes the film, the nuts, all the different boxes. There's the cost of shipping that to the manufacturer. Then there's also the cost of shipping it to me in my warehouse, and then there's the cost of shipping it to Amazon. Now, I could save on some costs here by just shipping it directly from my manufacturer to Amazon, but because this was my first time working with this manufacturer, I wanted to check it out at my own warehouse first. There's also the cost of the manufacturing fee, which is around $4,000, and I'm gonna put just other random fees at about $1,000. And lastly, I'm gonna add in a $2,500 buffer, because honestly, I guarantee someone's gonna comment down below that I forgot some kind of expense with making my product. So in total, it was around $18,000 for my first production run, and total of 2,500 units for, let's call it about $7.50 per unit. Now keep in mind, my product is way more complicated than most people's Amazon FBA product. Most people, they just pay their manufacturer a flat fee and they get a finished product. They don't have to deal with sourcing all the different raw goods. For instance, my girlfriend's company, Vino Cards, we just pay the manufacturer a flat fee and we get the product. Now this doesn't include all my startup fees, because to be honest, I made probably another $15,000 in mistakes that I'm not gonna include as part of the numbers for this test, because well, they were mistakes. And if you want to learn more about that, you can watch this video up here. But in summary, I spent about $4,000 signing a contract with a manufacturer I probably shouldn't have worked with. I spent another $6,000 in R&D fees when I probably could have just done the R&D in my own kitchen. And there was another $5,000 or so in fees that I probably could have avoided, but you live and you learn. But let's move on to the actual results. And as a recap for anyone that didn't see my 2-week trial video, in the first 2 weeks of launching this product, I did a big promotion where my product's normally $27.99. For the first week, I discounted it to $19.99. And I had an entire launch strategy where I did a lot of social media, I gathered a lot of emails, I utilized a Facebook group, a bunch of different things that I talked about in this video. But within the first 2 weeks of launching, I sold 192 units for a total revenue of around $4,000. Now it's important to remember that's revenue and not profit. There are a lot of costs associated with selling on Amazon. So first off, there is the cost of my product, which we said is around $7.50 per unit. The next cost is the Amazon selling fee. And there's a flat 15% fee to sell your products on the Amazon platform. And for me, that was around $600 they charged me in fees just for that fee. There's also the Amazon pick and pack fee. And that's the fee every time Amazon picks your product from its warehouse and ships it out. And that includes the shipping fee. And that fee depends on the size and the weight of your product. But for me, that was around another $500 to $600 or so in fees. On top of that, there's just other random fees associated with running a business and selling on Amazon. There's things like the $39.99 a month Amazon fee. There's LLC fees if you want to run your business as an LLC, and there's also storage fees to store your products in the Amazon warehouse. And storage fees are relatively cheap, but in total, all the other Amazon fees for this first 2 weeks was around $125. And in these first 2 weeks, my total profit was a little over $1,000. And that's really cool. It's an extra $1,000. But keep in mind, because that was my first 2 weeks selling on Amazon and I put a lot of work into launching my product, those sales numbers, it doesn't mean that it's going to keep on going like that. So the big question is what happens in the first full month after that initial launch? And in the first full month after that initial launch, I sold around 130 units for a total revenue of around $4,000. My first expense was the cost of the products I sold during this month, which was around $1,000. Again, there's that flat 15% Amazon fee, which was around $500 or so for me. And there's also, again, the Amazon pick and pack fee, which is every time you sell a product, Amazon ships it out for you, which was another $500 or so. Another expense to running an Amazon business that a lot of people don't talk about is advertising. And the best way to advertise your product on Amazon is using Amazon's PPC. And I spent a total of around $377 on PPC. Now, note that on the first 2 weeks that I launched, I didn't spend any money on PPC because I had a pretty good launch strategy and I wanted to wait until I got some reviews on my product before I started running advertising to it. Because if I was spending a bunch of money doing Amazon PPC, people were going to my product page and the product had 0 reviews. Most people probably don't want to buy a product that has 0 reviews. So I wanted to wait till it had a few 5-star reviews before I started running Amazon PPC. And of course, there's just other random fees associated with running an Amazon business. We'll say that it's around an extra $300 or so in other Amazon FBA fees, which is things like storage fees, the monthly selling fee, and just other fees associated with running a business, like paying my virtual assistants and other random things like that. And my total profit in this first month was around $1,100, which keep something in mind here. I sold less units this month than I did in my first 2 weeks, but I made just about as much profit. And the reason was because during the first 2 weeks, my product was discounted to $19.99. And even though the number of units I sold is less, I still ended up making just about as much money. Now, something really important here is Amazon takes time. It's an algorithm, and basically the way it works, people basically search on Amazon for different things, and Amazon figures out what should be at the top of the search rankings. And it takes time, it takes sales, and it takes reviews for you to get at the top of the search engine. So I didn't expect my first month to be that good. But let's go into the second month results. And I want to point out I made a lot of mistakes here. And one big mistake I made between the first month and the second month is I probably should have done more with my PPC. Amazon PPC is such a powerful tool, but honestly, in between my first month and my second month, I did almost no work on my Amazon business at all. I wanted it to be completely passive because I wanted to test out the idea. Can this be a passive income business? And here are the results of my second full month selling on Amazon. I did a total revenue of around $4,500 with around 150 units sold. So my sales did increase a little bit, but not by a lot, which makes sense because I didn't really do any work to increase the sales. I didn't really work with the Amazon PPC. I just kind of laid back and let things happen. My first cost was the product cost, which was around $1,100 to produce the products that I sold during this month. Then there's the flat 15% Amazon fee, which was around $700 for me in total fees just to sell on the Amazon platform. There was another $600 or so in Amazon FBA pick and pack fees, and another $360 in Amazon PPC. Like I mentioned, I should have probably increased my PPC spend, should have spent more time on that, but I didn't. So it was around $360 of PPC. And one thing I didn't mention is I spent around $360 in PPC, and in this second month, I probably made an extra $700-800 in sales. So it does make sense to run Amazon PPC, especially if you're doing it correctly. There was another $100 or so in other random Amazon fees. These are things like receiving fees, storage fees, just little random rinky-dink things that in the big picture don't make a huge difference, but it's worth pointing out. And another $200 and just other fees associated with running my business, LLC fees, paying out my virtual assistants, basically just keeping the lights on. And in total, in my second month selling this product on Amazon, during that second month, I made about $1,600 in profit, which is pretty good to have a business that makes me an extra $1,600 of profit per month, especially considering the fact that I didn't really work on this business at all after I launched it on Amazon. But at the same time, to be completely honest, it's a little bit disappointing, especially because I'm a quote unquote Amazon expert and this product's only making $1,600 a month. Not as good as I was hoping for. Now there's some pretty obvious reasons why my product failed, and please pay attention, please learn from my mistakes so you can have more success than me on Amazon. And the first mistake I made is I tried to force this product to happen. A year and a half ago, when I first had this idea for this product, it was a really good idea. But from the time that I had the idea to actually launching the product, a bunch of competitors entered the space, which made it so that my product had a lot lower of a chance of having success in this crowded market that was the keto nut butter space. On top of that, it was just really bad timing for me to launch this product. My product is an on-the-go healthy snack product, and I launched it in the middle of a pandemic when nobody really cares about eating healthy, and on top of that, nobody's really on the go. So this is probably the worst product to launch in the middle of a pandemic. And to be fair, despite all of that being a highly saturated market, really competitive, and really bad timing with everything going on, to still be doing at least $1,500 a month in profit isn't bad. Now, I'm very happy that I launched this product because if I didn't, I would always wonder what if. But at the same time, I think this was a lesson to me. If it's not fun, if you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're just doing it for the money, sometimes the universe is gonna slap you in the face. And I find in my life, when I love what I'm doing, when I'm having fun doing the thing, that business ends up becoming much more successful. And that's why I recommend to everybody that's going to be selling on Amazon to launch a passion product, a product that you actually believe in, that you're passionate about. And I guarantee that was my first product. And that's why it was so successful. I was really passionate about it. But to be honest, this new product, even though it's relatively similar, I've kind of, and here's an honest truth, I've kind of lost a lot of my passion for performance nut butter. But here's the truth about Amazon. The whole point of Amazon is to create a business so you can have passive income and do whatever you want. Now, for some people, what they want to do is continue to grow that Amazon business and make more money, but that's not my goal. My goal was to have freedom, and I've created that for my Amazon business because last month my Amazon business did over $20,000 in revenue, and after subtracting all the fees, product costs, everything, I did around $5,000-6,000 profit, which for me is enough to pay my bills, live in my dream location, and really enjoy my life. And here's the thing that's a little bit hard for me to admit, a little bit embarrassing. I'm done working on performance nut butter. I'm gonna be working on it max 1 to 2 hours a week. And most of the time that I spend working on it, I'm actually gonna be training a new intern I hired. And my intern is a full-time intern that's gonna be taking over the business. On top of that, I hired a good friend of mine to run paid ads and grow the Shopify side of my business. And what I want you to do is comment down below on what you want me to try out, what you want me to test out, what kind of things, marketing tactics I should have my intern implement. And what I want to start doing is, rather than focusing on making as much money as possible for my Amazon business, I want to test out strategies and report back to you on this channel what works, what doesn't work. So leave a comment down below on what strategies you want me to test out. Remember to enjoy the journey and check back on this channel in the next few weeks as I try out different things for my Amazon business so I can show you what works and what doesn't work. So click subscribe. I'll see you in the next few weeks, and thanks for watching.